Hi everybody, I enjoyed looking at your standards guides. I think you're all on the right track, although I do think for the most part everybody needs to tweak just a little bit here and there. I tried to cover all of those notes throughout. I think the number one thing everybody needs to work on is widows. So I wish I taught you your graphic design class, like your typography class. So a widow is one word on a line, like right here. And this explains how it just sort of interrupts the reading process. But in design, it also puts like a big arrow on the word. And it's so subtle and it might not mean anything to you, but if you do this day after day after day, art directors, creative directors, they see these widows and want you to get them out of there. So that's one thing you want to do for sure. The other thing is to work on consistency, and I think I made my point about that with everybody, is anything repeated, you want to define its location and its look. Unless you're going full on experimental like a David Carson piece, which none of you have done yet, you want to be super consistent. Okay, so this week I'm giving you a week to do the leave behind choice, but first back to the standards guide. Dun, dun, dun. So I don't want to close the door on this because so many of you are so close to perfecting your standards guide and being able to present it in a real way to an art director. I'm going to give you guys a super long deadline to fix any little errors and inconsistencies and so forth. So I'm going to make another assignment, but I'm going to push the due date out like several weeks. And I don't want you to turn it in immediately. I want you to take a look. In fact, I might not make it for a little while, but in the meantime, in the background, I want you guys to work on the consistency and all those notes I made. And I'll give you some points for doing that. And I know you can do it on your own, but if I make it graded, it'll force you to do it. And trust me, you'll be happy you did it in the long run. All right, so that said, leave behind choice. So we left that behind a while ago, and now we're moving forward in really getting to it. So this is something that Josh and I want you to really make. I think eventually you may drop it by his office. We discussed that, but the details of that are still a little vague, and I'll get back to you. But so basically, I want you to create a sketch, whichever one you picked from your initial offering of this. So create a sketch, but also on the same page, if you have any visuals you can include, that would be wonderful. Part 2, price out the idea. I want to see prices from at least 1 or 2 comparisons. I might actually update that to say it. And the reason is because sometimes these places have huge price differences, and you're better off doing a little research. Don't just go with the first one you find. And then I want to see a timeline of when it'll be completed. Like perhaps every week you're going to do a little bit more, or how long it'll take to get it. Let's say you do something like, you create your business card, but you make it a seed packet, or you made part of it a rip-off seed packet. Go to the place that does that and find out how long shipping is and include it in your timeline. Okay, so looking at this, I realize you might be saying to yourself, well, how long do I get to do this? And I think it's fair to say we're going to work on this every week. So think about that timeline. And also, whatever it is, if you're going to order something, and incorporate that. So let's be realistic about this. And if you have any questions, let me know.